Hello and welcome back to another episode on the channel by me, the Wise James. It has been a while since I've done a live. This isn't technically going to be a live, I will record it, but it's been recorded live. Nigel Farage is going to have an announcement at 5 o'clock today UK time, and I'm just going to have some fun. I've been away from Facebook groups basically the whole year, just been playing offline games, enjoying my life, but I'm just going to have some fun. So we've got 2 minutes until Nigel's speech. And I've been speaking to this American. Gun saves lives. Yeah. What's that guy? That looks pretty. Bless them. Right. Is Nigel ready? Is Nigel up and running? Let's have a look. Is he on time? It's 5 o'clock. He's live. He's on time. Never trust the Tory. They are scum. That'll do. First live chat. Number one, first in. That's how quick I am. People think I'm a bot, you see, so this is going to be video evidence that actually, no, I am not a machine. Well, the girlfriend might disagree in the bedroom, but it saved the agents. They used theirs to murder an innocent man who had no weapon drawn. So what did their weapon save them from? Bless them. So many lies in this world. Oh, that was him. Correct. She did flood the UK with 1.2 million migrants. Correct. So did Jeremy. What's he called? Beep ba 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 bum. Ba 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 bum. Beep ba 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 bum. That's how you do it, boys. That's how you do it. Do you think these cunts can fucking brainwash my country into being fascist Nazi cunts like the Americans? No way. No way. It's not happening. I will stand against you. I will be here. I will stop you cunts. You will not take this country from the British people and hand it to an American. Who just think funds GB News? Oh, it's the Americans, right? Some nationalist Americans. Who do you think America has just said they're going to invest loads of money in foreign right-wing groups? Mainly far right-wing groups in in Europe. And what is GB News and Reform? It's right-wing. So guess who gets funding? From America. So that's why they want to get rid of the NHS, you see. So they can introduce the American medical system, and America gets all the money for all the UK medical problems. They can get rid of our everything, basically. Imagine if it was Liz Truss inbound. That'd be so funny. That'd be so funny. I'd laugh my arse off if it was Liz Truss. Absolutely laugh my arse off. Oh, the American's back. He came carrying a high carry... He had a license to carry that. And that is his right under the Second Amendment. He committed no crime and did not have a weapon even on his possession when shot, as it had been removed. I wonder if you would defend rape as well as paedophiles and murderers. Bless them, these Americans so lost. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Here's the frog-faced traitor.
He's got a sense of humour, isn't he? That's the main thing. Good afternoon, everybody. Whilst the Conservative Party have been busy today, very, very busy with Andy Street and others, attempting to move to the centre ground, to become more liberal than the Liberal Democrats, we've been busy on a different mission. And our mission is to unite the centre-right of British politics. And you've been watching that process being unveiled before your eyes over the course of the last few weeks. And today is another very significant step in that direction. Worth reminding people that Robert Jenrick on Con Home was by far the most popular frontbencher in the elected Conservative Party. Well, Suella Braverman is by far the most popular backbencher amongst the Con Home audience, all of which I believe is evidence that the centre-right is finally uniting, as the Conservatives, I'm quite certain, will go in the opposite direction. Their reaction to Suella's defection has been pretty abusive. Don't please ask any questions about that. We will not lower ourselves to their level. I know the other big story of the day, of course, is that Annie Burnham has been denied the opportunity to run in the Manchester by-election, which again I think sends quite a big message that on the day Prime Minister
has he? Has Starmer U-turned again? Has he U-turned again? No, he's still blocked from running. I thought he might have U-turned. Wait there. I must have heard it wrong.
Putting talent onto his front bench. We in Reform are more than willing to accept talent, and I believe that's what we have today.
Talent. She went on live TV and was screaming that the illegal migration problem that her party caused was an invasion. And the next day, some mentally unwell British person went and tried to set fire to a migrant hotel, which was a terrorist attack. And it was her who incited the violence that caused it. Was she charged with incitement of violence? No. Did she end up having to resign and lose her job for stuff like that? Yes. And Nigel wants her. Someone who incites violence and hatred of migrants, even though she is only here because of migration.
Suella Braverman has been very principled and very clear in what she believes in over many, many years. She was the first senior elected Conservative to say that the ECHR was incompatible with British law and putting the rights of British people first. And I believe she's going to be a terrific addition to our rapidly growing team. So without further ado, I'll welcome Suella Braverman to the stage. They're a bit less noisy than earlier.
They are.
She's going to incite violence again this time.
Thank you, Nigel. Very, very kind of you. Very good to see all of you this afternoon. As I said this morning, this feels like coming home. And I am incredibly grateful for the welcome, the support, and the fact that I am finally part of a mission that I can believe in. Because the truth is, for the first time in years, I now feel that I can truly believe in something. And the truth is, As I said to our veterans earlier this morning, our country is broken and only Reform UK can fix it. That is why I've left the Conservatives and I have joined Reform today. Now, I've not taken this decision lightly. I very much understand why there will be some people, particularly in Fair and Waterlooville Conservatives, who have supported me over the years, who will be feeling disappointed and upset. And I want to say to them that this is not about you.
Yeah.
To those local...
Yeah, you people who voted for her and gave her your vote that she would make your lives better and make the Conservative Party... No, this isn't about you and your vote. It's about her and what she says she can do to fix the country that she broke. Yeah.
Supporters who have confided in me about their frustrations with the Conservative Party, but who have only stayed put because of me, please join me. Come and join Reform UK. If you believe in saving Britain, strong borders...
No, if you believe in saving Britain and strong borders, you should vote for me as Prime Minister. A vote for Pope is a vote for hope. At the end of the day, I want controlled immigration. Not the Tories created this illegal immigration problem, so they can't be trusted to fix it. Labour have reduced immigration, but they're not going to fully control the borders the way it should be, the way I would. And they don't know how to reduce the national debt, and they're doing DB Energy wrong because they're donors at energy companies. So our energy prices aren't going down. You should vote me in as Prime Minister, not rejected Tories.
A strong economy and a strong defence. And to those who still believe that we should remain loyal to a party that has betrayed them and the country countless times, please listen to why I say that enough is enough. It's time to put country first. Because we are in the fight
Let's have some fun
to save Britain. And
Here we go.
Only Reform UK can do it. Our country is in deep peril. Families are struggling to keep bills under control. Businesses are being crippled. Immigration is off the scale. Taxes are at an all-time high, and yet services are at an all-time low. People don't feel safe anymore in their cities and towns. Our borders are broken, and our country stands humiliated and weakened around the world. People are crying out for real change, or they're leaving the country. So we have a choice: more of the same failed consensus or radical brave leadership. And I choose the latter. And the only party that offers us that, with the solutions for the country and most importantly, credibility, is Reform UK. I've had enough of Conservative betrayal. I've had enough of Conservative denial. I've had enough of the political chameleons who populate the Conservative Party. Enough of Conservative delusion. They are a party now that is too weak to save themselves, let alone the country. Now, I understand that being in a political party requires compromise and pragmatism. It also requires loyalty. But loyalty is a two-way street. If the party you joined no longer reflects the values and principles that it once did, you should question your allegiance. If the party keeps breaking its promises, you should question your loyalty. And now, too many promises lie in tatters. Too much damage has been done, and I no longer trust the Conservative Party. Let's look at the list of broken promises. The party promised time and again to cut immigration. It failed. But that failure was not just incompetence, it was deliberate. As Home Secretary...
The truth is, if these guys can hijack everyone's phones, TVs and screens in the country to ram their bullshit down everyone's necks until one day they believe it, then I can hijack their hijacking to do what I want to do. And so can anyone else in the country and the world.
Secretary, I tried so many times to...
Any tool someone uses against you, you can then use that tool against them. That is how it works. That is how it works.
Cut the number of visas, only to be ignored by the Prime Minister, blocked by the Chancellor, and attacked by other Conservative cabinet colleagues. As a result, the numbers soared and only started to come down after I managed to secure the first set of changes in May 2023. Too little, too late. Despite that great betrayal, I remained loyal. The party promised to do whatever it takes to stop the boats. As Home Secretary, I tried so many times. Lee and Andrew, you will know the frustration that we had in the Conservative Party. I tried so many times to persuade the Prime Minister that we needed to leave the ECHR. I was the first Conservative minister to call for us to leave the ECHR because I saw how it undermined our national sovereignty and our border security. What happened? Conservative colleagues attacked me and the Prime Minister blocked me. Only one other currently sitting Tory MP and myself rebelled on the Rwanda bill because of the ECHR. As a result, the boats kept coming. Now, yes, the Conservative Party has adopted my policy 3 years later. But even now, look closely. It's half-hearted, cautious. Half of the Conservative MPs are dead against it. And even the leader herself didn't support the policy.
I got blocked from coming in.
When it really mattered.
And it's on record.
When we had the majority.
Reform literally blocked me from using my free speech for hijacking their hijacking by telling people to keep voting for me.
For so long?
Here we go.
Because at every junction, when it really mattered, when the
you guys want to play? Let's play.
The wrong thing.
You cannot
they
defeat
chose
me.
The weak option. And many of those same people lead the party today. And yet I still stayed loyal. And when I diagnosed all of these problems after the last general election, the leader herself said I was having a nervous breakdown, something she seems to have repeated again today. As Nigel said, those attacks say more about them than they do about me. So for some years now, I think you can see that I have been out of step with the Conservative Party. And in truth, I have felt politically
And then they blocked me.
for the better part of 2 years.
Yes.
I've been
They're having to make
ashamed
efforts
of
to
the
stop me from exercising my right of free speech.
2024 general election
Brilliant.
campaign.
Brilliant. That's it. Reform. Try and silence the people you don't want to hear.
So for some years now, I think you can party allegiance, not because of it. It's why I was the first Conservative MP re-elected that night to apologise directly to the nation for my party's failings. It is impossible to defend the party's record in office or to even believe in its policy for the future. The people, the instincts and the factions are all the same. But now is also the time to acknowledge a deeper truth about what is happening in the Conservative Party. Much more important than any personal attack.
You cannot defeat me, Reform. I am not going to be beaten this easily.
Years now, I think you can, and debate is normal in politics. And the battle between right and left has been there for decades within the Conservative Party.
Maybe it's just crashed.
The Wets and the Thatcherites,
maybe that's all it is. It's just crashed. I'm sorry, but nothing she's saying is worth hearing anyway. It's just a load of shit.
Tradition and patriotism. But less than a year after becoming a Tory MP in 2015, I found myself rebelling against David Cameron to support Brexit. Incidentally, almost exactly a decade ago, I sat down with the Prime Minister and I had to tell him, I'm afraid I can't support your Brexit deal. I had to put country above party. I thought my rebellion then would be a one-off. But it wasn't. To my horror, Theresa May then messed up Brexit. I had to resign from ministerial office. I rebelled not just once, but...
Oh, shut up. You're not a rebel. You're a conformist.
From
That's why you're
ministerial
joining
office.
another group of conformists.
28 of us believed in our nation's sovereignty, that it was obvious what we needed to do, put country before party. Later, I thought the Eurosceptic right of the party had won, after Boris became Prime Minister and Brexit was delivered in 2020. But you know what? I was wrong. Brexit was actually a facade for what turned out to be a largely Lib Dem, socialist light agenda.
Nigel's the one who got the Brexit demand in the first place. What's she talking about? We wouldn't have Brexit if it wasn't for Nigel Farage. He created the public demand for it, and then the Conservative Party gave in to the public demand to have a referendum, and we voted to leave. We left. It's because of Nigel, and she's whinging about Brexit.
Because after 2020, what did
My
we see?
God.
Out of control immigration, Northern Ireland siphoned.
You've got the Tory immigration minister who caused that. What? What? This is crazy, mate. This is
EU
crazy.
rules still applying in the UK. The highest tax burden in 70 years, a bigger welfare state, weak borders, and woke ideology taking over our institutions. Where had the Brexit that we had all fought for, including this man, where had it gone? So what followed Brexit was my rather lonely attempts to cut immigration, leave the East
Look at this coming here. Isn't she Muslim? Like, why would it matter if she is a Muslim? I don't like the woman, right? And she's a Tory, but if she's a Muslim, it's got nothing to do with anything here. Why would that matter? Why? Come on. Fuck's sake, leave it alone.
Islamism and boot out failing police chiefs. On none of those questions was the party with me, and I stood alone.
I stood alone.
So, the time has come to admit defeat. I'm on the right, proudly on the right of British politics. But the right has lost the battle for the Conservative Party. I tried with all my might. I took a few for the team. But the One Nation Wets have won the Conservative Party. The centrists control it, they populate it, and they are welcome to it. The truth is that...
The truth is, none of you can speak the truth, and you need to stop using my phrases, you bastards. That's the fact of the matter.
Made political views. But this is now impossible. The betrayal is too frequent, and my loyalty has been abused. So it is time. I've been patient. I have waited to see if the party would change. But the truth is clear. It has not and it will not. The Conservative Party has gone. The Conservative Party has left the building. That is why today I am announcing, and I have announced that I've resigned the Conservative whip and my membership, one that's endured 30 years, a party in which I grew up, in which I supported my mother as a local councillor for 16 years, when she stood as a Conservative MP herself, and on which I've been an MP for a decade. Now, I don't leave the Conservative Party with malice or anger or bitterness. That passed a long time ago. But with an element of sadness, when I look at what a once great party has descended into. So I have mixed feelings today. I am sad about leaving a political family, especially those members, friends and supporters in Fareham and Waterlooville, people with whom I've worked for a decade for the local community. They are all unsung heroes, and I understand that many of them, some of them, will be feeling hurt by my decision, and I regret that my decision may have hurt them, and I apologise for that. But I very much hope that many of them will join me at Reform UK. And I'm also incredibly excited and honoured and feel very lucky to be joining Reform UK today. You see, there is another way. We can rescue our country and turn it around.
Yeah, vote for James Pope for Prime Minister. If you vote for James Pope for Prime Minister, you'll be fine.
Someone who hasn't twisted and turned with the wind. Someone who hasn't jumped on the next passing trend just to get votes.
She's jumping on this reform trend to get votes. That's hilarious. She's such a hypocrite. Oh my God, what a fucking hypocrite.
We can believe. Someone who hasn't twisted and turned with the wind. Someone who hasn't jumped on the next passing trend just to get votes. The thing with Nigel is that he just keeps going.
Apart from when he didn't get elected and then he took a break because he didn't want to be embarrassed and then did I'm a Celebrity, lied to everyone that he had nothing to do with Brexit, and then goes, oh, I'll actually try and do something again because he got offered loads of money for it and now he came back. So he did stop.
They try and shut him down. They try to demonise him.
We don't need to demonise him. He was making gas noises at Jewish kids in school. He was whinging about EU migrants while we were in the EU, and then he's whinged about non-EU migrants while we were out the EU, but it was him who wanted us out the EU, even though he was warned that the EU migrants would be replaced by non-EU migrants. He didn't listen. In fact, he's made millions of pounds off doing nothing but whinge about migrants his entire fucking life. He failed as a European MP for 20 years, and he's failed as MP for Clacton for a few years. So what on this planet makes anyone think he's going to be a good Prime Minister when he wasn't a good MP at the EU, and he's not been a good MP for Clacton, is beyond me, and I will stop him personally. Personally. Mark my words, I will.
They throw all sorts at him. They all try and vilify him, but he doesn't get blown off course.
Yes, he does. He hides from interviews and claims he's sick and then fucks off to a Davos interview to back some Iranian billionaire's interest. What you on about? You lying bitch. You're literally lying to the British public in your first interview for your new political party. This is a joke. It should be a criminal offence for a politician to lie to the public. It should be.
You don't seem to be blowing him off course. You hear him from the journalists, the media, the mainstream establishment. He actually gets stronger.
No, he doesn't.
That is
remarkable. Every day he's growing weaker. And when he finally gets what he wants, it will be taken from under him and given to whoever donated all the money to him. And he'll have to do what they say, or he'll lose his job. They'll oust him with all the information and dirt they have on him. He is a puppet. He is nothing but a face of a disgusting nationalist organisation, mostly backed by Americans.
In British politics, which is packed with craven, superficial careerists, particularly the Conservative Party. He's not in politics for titles or for promotions. He is in politics to actually do something, to actually mean something, to actually save the country that he loves. He has this unique power to articulate our fears, our anger, our frustration, but also the direction of where we can head to.
See here, there's another person talking about her being a Muslim. Nobody cares if they're a Muslim, you weirdo. Who are you? What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with this person? Who cares if she's a Muslim? It's got fuck all to do with this.
Many millions of people right now, millions of people who are smeared as racist just for wanting their country back. Millions of people vilified as bigots just for wanting to stop the boats. Millions of people who are being judged by the establishment just because they want more safety, more fairness and more security in the country they thought they could call home. And that steadfast, determined courage is exactly what Britain needs more of. And that's why I'm very proud to support Nigel. And he's the only man that I trust to lead this party as Prime Minister. And I'm going to do everything in my power to get him there. You won't find tweets by me criticising Nigel Farage. You won't find any speeches by me on the internet having a go at him, because I have...
Let's test that theory. What did Suella Braverman say about Nigel Farage and UKIP as a Tory MP? It's not going to be anything. It's all going to be fucking overshadowed by the news of today, so I won't be able to find it. But journalists will find out if she's telling the truth there. They will find out.
Largely agreed with Nigel for years. And in fact, there are times over the past few years where I have done and said things as Home Secretary or Attorney General. My Conservative colleagues have criticised me, and Nigel Farage has been the only mainstream politician to come out and support me.
Why would anyone support you when you incited hatred and caused the man to do a terrorist attack by wrongly calling a failure by your political party, the Tory party, an invasion, which your party caused, and then you caused a British person to commit a national terrorist attack, which you called a mental health problem, when if a Muslim goes to try and throw and petrol bomb a hotel down, it's a terrorist attack. But a white guy does it because you said something on TV, oh, it's a mental health problem. Fuck off. Fuck off. Load of bullshit.
To me, and I know that he speaks for thousands of people in Fareham and Waterlooville, and
not the people of Clacton, though, does he?
millions of people around the country. He has built a formidable operation. This is
Formidable?
more than a political party.
No. He has been funded by people with formidable money, including Elon Musk and far-right American nationalists who want far-right ideology in the UK because they would get money from it. It's got nothing to do with Nigel's ability. It's all about the fact that they've set up GB News and Talk TV for him. They've got all the ownership of the papers. They pay all the entire Western world's media to make out like the right wing are good guys and Nigel's right and Trump's right and all this sort of shit because they've got the money and loads of people buy it because, unfortunately, a lot of people are idiots. That's unfortunately the truth.
It is a movement. It is a mission that is serious, deadly serious about saving Britain. He has assembled a fantastic team of brilliant minds, accomplished individuals, all of whom are making an invaluable contribution right now. And I am proud and excited to join him today. Thank you.
Well, Suella, thank you. I think that message was pretty clear and unambiguous, and I thank you for it. Brilliant. Right. Unlike the other parties, we take questions from the press. No, really, we do, honestly. We're going to start with Chris from the BBC.
Thank you both. Chris Mason, BBC News, and with apologies with the 6 o'clock news being imminent. Once I've heard your answers, I'll have to make an early departure. Nigel Farage, you're amassing quite the collection of folk who were very close to Liz Truss, including serving in her cabinet. Is that a helpful association? And if I may, would you commit to putting your latest recruit sitting next to you into your government were you to win the general election? And Suella Braverman, in their response to your defection, your former party said the Conservatives did all we could to look after Suella's mental health, but she was clearly very unhappy. What do you make of that? Thank you both.
Thank you. Chris, I'm very pleased to say that Robert Jenrick resigned as a minister, that Suella did her best to fight from within, but failed. Whichever cabinet they were in, and it's difficult to keep up really, isn't it, because they change leaders so often, isn't relevant. What's relevant is we need experience of people on the front line. That has been the one commodity that we've been short of. We need people who've been there, who can share with us how government works, or perhaps more.
Actually, it is quite relevant that Robert Jenrick was in charge of the failed immigration system that set up the rules, laws and regulations after Brexit that caused the mass illegal migration problem, because that's why he set up and got involved with reform and things. And it does matter that she was Home Secretary and was part and parcel of many of the failures of the Conservative Party, but never apologised to the public, never admitted the failures, and never tried to rectify them. Instead, was a, complicit in all these things. So, as much as Nigel can claim whatever departments Suella and Robert Jenrick were in charge of is not relevant, it most certainly is the very opposite and very relevant.
More accurately.
See there? Someone's probably thinking I'm the bot here. Look at that.
We also will only accept people who are prepared to put their hands up and admit that despite their best efforts, they failed. And I think you've heard that pretty clearly today. I've also set
Effectively.
a deadline of May the 7th, after which we will not be accepting defectors. We'll then be looking for people to come into politics from outside of it. People with expertise in business, railway.
In fairness, right, I'm not even joking. I could get Reform elected. Even though I don't like them, even though I don't like Nigel, I could quite easily come up with a manifesto and plan that would win them the election. Quite easily. I came up with one to get rid of the Tories. Worked like a charm. They're nearly dead and buried. You're welcome. You ever fuck with my family again, Tories, we'll do it again. You never ever fuck with the Pope family, alright? Simple. Don't fuck with the Pope. Tory bastards. So yeah, I could quite easily come up with a political manifesto for these guys to win the election. If I wanted to, but I don't.
Ways, energy, whatever it may be, because my view, and it's an outside view, but my view is you wouldn't run a company putting somebody in charge of a major department over which they had no knowledge at all.
You wouldn't put someone in charge of a warehouse where the warehouse is burnt down and loads of people lose their jobs. You wouldn't put someone as a lifeguard who people had died in the swimming pool because they failed at their job. You wouldn't put someone who was an immigration minister in charge of the immigration system that created the worst mass immigration problem this country had ever faced in its history. You wouldn't put them in your party. You wouldn't put someone who has incited violence and hatred and caused terrorist attacks, essentially, by inciting that violence and hatred in your party. There is experience matters, and their experience is not the experience you want.
And then reshuffle them 12 months later. So, do you want to answer what they've been saying about you, or should we move on?
Well, it is a bit pathetic.
As I said, it says more about them than it does me. I'm not really going to dignify it. It's, I'm afraid, just more sorry signs of a bitter and desperate party that's in free fall.
Yeah, and I thought
They wouldn't be in free fall if they hadn't fucked my family over. Wankers! I swore down when you fucked me over, the Tory party, that I would destroy you. I would obliterate you from this planet. And I'm not done yet. I am not fucking done yet. You still owe me and my family for what you did, you cunts.
The comments yesterday of Priti Patel were fairly extraordinary as well. Very extreme in every way. And I think these are the last thrashings of a dying political animal, is my view. Chris from GB News.
Chris Hope, GB News. Nigel Farage, we were last here in this room with you 10 days ago. You said then, get ready for a Labour defector. That was last Tuesday. That never happened.
Yeah.
Are these Labour defectors scared off?
Oh, you see when someone touches their nose, by the way, you might not know this, but usually it's that they know something. I know. Like, I know, but I'm not going to say. There's many people who walk past me in the street and do this. It's the I know. You just might not know this, but it's body language, okay? Humans do speak with our bodies.
By you hiring right-wing politicians like Suella Braverman. And to Suella Braverman, did you jump before you were pushed? Is that what drove you to make this choice today? And how can Nigel Farage succeed where all those other...
I don't think she was pushed. I think she jumped because Reform made her an offer she couldn't refuse. Simple.
Top politicians have failed to do what you want.
Well, Suella wasn't going to be pushed. I mean, the reason she joined and the reason you didn't know about it is because basically there were only two people that understood. And actually, I think your husband was involved too. But you know, we didn't tell anybody. You know what it's like in politics? You tell someone something in confidence, they will always share it with at least one other person.
Yeah.
And that person thinks, well, no, I've been told, perhaps I'll tell somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's why so few...
Nigel is right there. There is times where I won't disagree with Nigel. He's right there. You tell one person something in confidence. If that one person tells one person, just one other person, they'll then be like, well, they already told me, I'll just tell someone else. Because they know the original person who got told will get blamed, not them.
Things in politics ever stay secret. It's why cabinets leak like sieves, all meetings leak. And generally, over the years, when I've done manoeuvres like this, we've managed to keep them under the radar. There are one or two in the party who criticise me by saying, why didn't you tell me first? Well, because I like surprises. I like to produce jack-in-the-boxes, and I think today was one of them. I mean, did you expect this defection?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, really? Well, I tell you what, I like to produce...
We've been waiting for Liz Truss. And who's the other one? I can't remember we've been waiting for Liz Truss for weeks as well.
I mean, did you expect this defection? Yes. Did you? Oh, really? Well, I tell you what, when the next one comes, on this or any other event, let me know, because I'll get down Ladbrokes with you, and we'll all make a very great deal of money.
That would be insider trading, Nigel. You'd go to prison for that. If you knew who was going to defect and went to the bookies and put a bet on, because you knew, because you're the leader of the party, you would know who's defecting, that would be insider trading? And you just said you would do that. Okay.
Didn't happen yet. Didn't happen yet. It will. We are talking to a number of people who've held senior positions in the Labour Party, and yes, they will come. But as I said with the Robert Jenrick move, I was 65-35 confident he'd come in a few weeks' time, but you never quite know until it's done. But Kemi did us a big favour on that one. Okay, let's go to Amanda from Sky News.
Oh, and by the way, for the record,
Yeah.
I offered the Labour government the chance to give me a job so that I somewhat had a leash around me, if that makes sense. So, I could help the country, but with restrictions, if that makes sense. But they've chose not to do it. So I can, if I want to, get Reform elected. I do have that power. I know it sounds stupid that, you're just one guy. How could you possibly have more power than the entire electorate? It's the power of words. The power of fucking words. If I gave them 10 political policies that 90% of the country would love, back, and vote for, they would win. They would win. It's that simple. They would win. It's just that simple.
Listen, you're asking about when. I've never been divorced, but I have observed a lot of divorces, and this feels a bit like a divorce. I've been in
Betrayal
a relationship.
of your voters.
There's been a lot of...
Bear in mind, there will be loads of people out there who voted for her as a Tory to be a Tory representative, and now she's going to represent Reform, which is like the enemy of the Tories. It's like Alan Shearer went to Sunderland. Fucking Cristiano Ronaldo went to Barcelona. Messi went and played for Real Madrid. That's what it's like. That's literally, they're traitors, these people. Traitors.
betrayal on the part of one party, and yet I've stayed loyal. I've tried to make it work. We didn't go for counselling, but I've tried to give it a good go. Sometimes there have been some good weekends and some good times, and then sometimes it's all fallen back. And gradually, there's an erosion of trust and a breakdown of affiliation, love, even if you call it that. And eventually, there's a final straw. There's a moment when you think, right, this is it. And I think for me, that final straw has actually come in the last few days because the Tory party has exposed itself to be incredibly toxic and a circus and a very unhealthy place. The text messages were released by the, I think Robert Jenrick released them, but they were text messages by the chief whip, so I saw what she really thought about me, which is she wanted me out. There now seems to be a concerted effort.
Without sounding racist, because this isn't racist, it's just female dynamics. I honestly feel Suella Braverman knows she has no chance at any sort of leadership ability while a different female occupies the top spot, because the other top female won't let her get anywhere near it because she's a threat. She is far more capable than Kemi Bernadot. I'm not going to lie, she is, right? So she would have never been allowed anywhere near a position to be able to take that power from Kemi. Kemi wouldn't have allowed it. Female dynamics, trust me. So she's actually done the right thing for herself, if I'm honest. And good for her.
You could call it a witch hunt within the Conservative Party to hound out right-wingers. And, there's been some unprovoked, unjustified, hostile briefing directed towards me from the leader's office. There comes a point when you say, this is not the partnership for me, and I deserve better.
Excellent lot. Amanda from Sky News.
Thank you. Amanda Acas from Sky News. First, a question to Nigel Farage. You now have 23 current or former Tory MPs who've defected. You said you don't want to be the Tory party 2.0. So how many is too many? And is there anyone in the Tory party that you wouldn't be prepared to accept?
Yes. And there are people who've approached us that we've said we don't think it's appropriate. Because number one, they're not prepared to be contrite enough about what happened, especially in that last government since 2019. And secondly, because I took the view that they were viewing us as a lifeboat, that we were better for them than they would be for us.
But that's what Suella is. That's exactly what she's doing. What's he talking about?
My qualifications for this are very, very simple.
This has been
They
funny,
have to
this,
be
yeah, I agree.
right about
Sam
what they
Burgess
do.
is right.
They have to be prepared to put their shoulder to the wheel and actually help
It's been great comedy, this. Great comedy.
parties as difficult.
What's going on? Oh, Google Chrome has broken. I broke Google Chrome. Great. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm going to have to end the task. That's never happened before. There's a new one. I can't hear the sound.
Policing in this country. And they should have been banned when I urged them to be banned around Armistice Day. The fact that a march went ahead on Armistice Day, desecrating the memory of our war dead, is a national disgrace. And in the lead up to that, I was pleading with the Prime Minister, basically. I had lost confidence in the Met Commissioner on his strategy and tactics for policing those marches. They had got out of control. Every week there was another apology from the Met Police. They were chanting jihad on the streets of Britain. Jewish people had to stay locked up for fear of attack and physical assault. It was a disgrace. And what we've had is, over the 2 years, a normalisation of this extremism on our streets, a normalisation of anti-Semitism, and a flagrant display of two-tier policing, whereby the police turn a blind eye to the pro-Palestinian hate marches and let them scale war memorials, fire off flares, cover their face, chant anti-Semitic chants, and yet a very heavy-handed response to other kinds of protests which tend to connect to the right of British politics. Two-tier policing writ large, a total disgrace and contributory to the undermining of public confidence. And I warned that someone would be killed in 2023. And it is a great shame that 2 years later, members of the Jewish community were murdered on the streets of Britain.
Adam from Guido Fawkes.
Thank you. Adam Cherry, Guido Fawkes. You mentioned Andy Burnham earlier. So, simple question. If Labour does change leader at some point, would they lose their democratic mandate, and should they then call an immediate general election?
I think that was a very likely proposition, and I suspect that's the crisis that will engulf British politics at some point this summer. I think the May the 7th results are going to be so catastrophic for...
Here's the thing, right? I offered Keir Starmer the chance to obviously get me in the government, give me a good job, and I would have been able to help them out. I could have helped Starmer in this situation, be some sort of voice of reason. But he went and thought hand delivering a letter by the King to Trump was more important, and stealing my 3 policies from 2017 to win the last election. And by the way, they still haven't given 16 and 17-year-olds the right to vote, even though they said they would. They said they would do GB Energy to lower energy prices. They haven't lowered energy prices. They've used GB Energies to claim they would, and then gave everyone 150 quid off their energy bill. They didn't actually lower energy prices. And the National Wealth Fund was made, but we haven't really heard anything about it. But to be fair, it will take a few years for a wealth fund to start becoming profitable. So the 3 policies he stole, he's not done one of them, done one of them wrong, and we won't hear about another one for about another 5-10 years anyway. So, yeah, so he's given me no reason to help him. And I won't help him, to be honest. I won't. Not in any way, shape or form. He should have thanked me for the policies he stole from me and used to win the election. That's all he would have had to do, was a thank you. To be a decent, civil human being. Like, if you're a scientist, if you steal someone's work and try and pass it off as your own, you would be, like, disgraced from the science community. But in politics, people often pass each other's opinions and beliefs off or ideas off as their own, and nobody pulls them up on it. Starmer used my policies from 2017 to win the last election. They weren't meant for him. They were meant to fix the UK after Brexit. They weren't meant for fucking Starmer. And he didn't thank me for it, did he? So, fuck you.
Labour, particularly in places like Wales. You know, Keir Hardie, Merthyr Tydfil, Nye Bevan, Michael Foot, Neil Kinnock, constituencies they've held ever since 1918, councils they've run, let alone devolved power for 26 years, giving us the worst NHS, the worst education in the whole of the UK. Now, opinion polls vary, campaigns change. But if the last measures and markers would have agreed with the Spartans and what they did, and there are two of them sitting in this room, and without the Spartans, the Brexit Party couldn't have won the European elections of that year and couldn't have got rid of Theresa May. So you could actually argue that in some ways we've been working in concert, albeit in different parties, but now the time has come to unite, not around campaigns, but around a political party and movement that intends to go ahead and not win individual issues, but win the next general election. And I think you'll find our voters and our supporters understand that. Now, if Jeremy Hunt approaches and wants to join, and I accept him, we might have a problem. But don't worry, folks, don't panic, Lee. It's going to be okay. None of that's going to happen. So there is an intellectual consistency and political messaging from these people. And, Jenrick might have been on the other side 10 years ago, but pretty clearly everything he's done for the last few years is aligned absolutely with what we stand for and what we do. So there is a political consistency in this. I'm not going to speculate on numbers, but I mean, the truth is, of this current parliamentary Conservative Party, there's only a relatively small percentage that we would even consider accepting. And it's just...
I could do this all day, if I wanted to, or loads of different things.
Let's get a Christian from the Express.
I've got better things to do.
So a number of Liz Truss's cabinet are among the defectors that you've received. I believe earlier today you said that Ms Truss herself joining was merely unlikely.
Unlikely?
Do you not think it would be helpful for Reform UK to rule out her joining, given...
I would laugh my arse off if the woman who got beat by a lettuce and created the worst economic budget in modern history for Britain and has literally been outcast in disgrace, right? If she was then to join Reform, it would signal to the Labour Party and the Tory Party, to be honest, he's desperate. He's fucking desperate. Suella Braverman is quite a smart appointment. Quite a decent appointment, really. Not the worst thing in the world. Damages the Tory Party. Better than the rest of the dregs at Reform, really. Most of the time. But to bring in Liz Truss... that would be the end of Reform, really. That would be the nail in the coffin. Done. Finished.
The anger amongst the general public about the impact of her mini-budget. You've now also got a hell of a lot of big personalities within the party. Is there a risk that you're going to go from a one-man band to Fleetwood Mac? And can you clarify when you'll be announcing your shadow cabinet?
I can't win, can I? I can't win.
No, you will never win, Nigel. Because you are not a winner. You're a fucking loser. That's why. You might win the election, to be fair, but it won't be because you're a winner. It's because America's money was used to back you. The same way the Tories bought the election, the Americans are going to buy the next British election.
You're a one-man band, or you're an uncontrollable... that you'll hear from Kemi Badenoch or Priti Patel. Far from us being a welfarist party, we've already proposed some of the, in fact, the biggest cuts to welfare expenditure ever seen in British political history. And we will need to cut welfare spending considerably. One, so that we are free to start controlling the deficit and to bring down taxes and to incentivise people. And secondly, because there is absolutely no question that our spending on defence, albeit spent in the right way, has now become absolutely imperative. And we need some very, very fresh thinking. I'm told the MOD are slowly waking up to the importance of drones and modern battlefield technology, but we just got to face it unavoidably. We will need to be spending more on defence. So I think the balance of that is right, and I think the Kwarteng budget has actually done us a very, very big favour to tell us that at some point you have to start cutting government spending.
I have been saying for 10 plus years the problem is the debt. It's not the deficit. The deficit is how much more you're spending than you're making. It's the debt itself. The reason the deficit is so high is because we pay so much interest on the national debt. We have £3 trillion worth of debt, right? We pay 20 to 30 million pounds every day just on the interest on that debt. So we lose 3-4 times the cost of illegal migration each day simply on our national debt. Now, the solution to that is not to take away money from the public system by making cuts. The solution is actually national industry. British industry owned by the British taxpayers operating within the private sector to make profit for Britain that turns our national debt into a surplus and a profit, and eventually we have no national debt, massive employment, good wages, low prices, no foreign dependence on energy and many other things. But no, you want to just take some disabled person's money or some person on benefits money, not tax the billionaires. You don't want to build industry in an empire. You want to take the pennies from the poor. That's Nigel. That's Nigel.
Right, let's keep going. We're only halfway through, good Lord. Daisy
Are we?
at the Times.
Halfway through. Oh boy.
Oh, far too much. Daisy from the Times.
Thank you. For you, Nigel Farage, with Burnham being blocked from standing in Gorton and Denton, it's looking like it could be a two-horse race between the Greens and Reform UK. As that vote comes up in a month, we heard earlier, could you spell out what your lines of attack will be? And for Suella Braverman, do you have hopes to serve in a Reform UK cabinet, potentially under a role like Home Secretary? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's the 26th of February. They've called an absolute snap election, and that's so they can get the postal votes out, they hope, more quickly than any other party can mobilise. That's what it's all about. Had Burnham stood, our chances of winning would have been considerably reduced, because he would have been...
The thing is, there is such a thing as tactical voting as well. So technically, right, I'm not a sitting MP, so I can't really be Prime Minister. And to be an MP, you know, you have to win your local election. And then to be Prime Minister, the MPs have to vote in essentially who's Prime Minister. So the people who represent their party obviously vote in their leader. So it's automatically assumed that when you vote for a Labour MP, you're also voting for their Prime Minister, right? That's kind of how it works, essentially. And if you're voting for the Prime Minister to get that representative. So the only way an independent could technically win at the minute is if all the MPs voted them in to be the leader of the House or Prime Minister instead of their own leader, which the only time they might do that is if they preferred me to who was going to win the election. So even if Reform won a lot of MP seats and was going to be a majority, if all the other MPs voted for me to be Prime Minister, there is still the possibility remains that I could end up as Prime Minister. I'm just saying, tactical voting does exist, and this is a free democratic country. People should be allowed to vote for me. Simple. And if they can't vote for me, then we don't live in a free democratic system, do we? A vote for Pope is a vote for hope.
The anti-Starmer candidate. I believe that Reform are now the anti-Starmer candidate. Only a Reform...
Any single person who was running against Starmer is anti-Starmer. I'm anti-Starmer. I'm actually not anti the Labour Party, to be fair, because I think workers' rights is the most important aspect of a modern economy. The very most important aspect of any modern economy is the workers' rights, because that way workers work hard, their efficiency is good, they have legal protections, and it all works. Yes, it costs more than slavery. Yes, obviously. But the benefits far outweigh the costs, right? That's my opinion. So that's why I think the Labour Party is always the better option than the Tories. Not because of Starmer. I don't like Starmer. He still owes me a thank you. He's an ungrateful bastard.
Well, only a Reform victory can get rid of Starmer as Prime Minister. he is the most
But the thing is, if Reform come knocking on my door, and they're like, James, we'll pay you £1 million to come up with a manifesto that wins us the election, I could do it. But they'd be asking me to sell out the future of my country for a quick profit. And I couldn't do that. No. I would rather die a penniless tramp in the gutter than help destroy this country I love so much. No fucking way. So even if Reform did come knocking on my door, the only way I would help them is if Labour became a worse option than them. So if in the next year Labour becomes somehow worse than worse than Reform, I might have to. But
popular Prime
it's
Minister
unlikely.
in living memory. I think the last approval poll I saw had his approval rating only on 11%. And I think this could well become a referendum about Keir Starmer and his future. I expect to see a strong reluctance from Labour voters to turn out on the day. It'll depress the overall turnout in this by-election. I suspect there'll be votes that go to the left. Don't forget George Galloway's Workers' Party got 14%.
It's 50% is current approval rating.
General election. Plus there's going to be an attempt by Greens, etc. And I think our prospects of winning that
Nigel said 11, it's 15% is approval rating.
by-election are considerably better than they were 24, 36 hours ago. But like Runcorn, it ain't going to be easy. These have been Labour seats, culturally, historically, for a very, very long time. So it may well be close, but I think we're in with an extremely good chance. Anti-Starmer, referendum on the Prime Minister, that's one of the key campaign messages. We'll be launching the campaign in the constituency.
Thing is, I agree with Reform wanting to get rid of Starmer, not because I think Starmer's a bad leader, because he didn't thank me for stealing my policies. Like, he is only Prime Minister. Literally, he is only the British Prime Minister because he used those 3 policies to win the last election. If he was not able to suggest he was going to lower energy prices and give 16 and 17-year-olds the right to vote and nationalise some industries so that we had lower rail fares and lower water prices and these sorts of things, he wouldn't have won the election. He wouldn't have fucking won it. So he literally is only Prime Minister because of the policies he stole from me, in my humble opinion. It's not very humble, I guess, but in my arrogant, self-centred, big-headed opinion, whatever you want to say, that's what I believe. He would not be Prime Minister if it wasn't for the policies I came up with when I was mentally insane. That's why the media most likely doesn't talk about it.
At 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Launching our candidate tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. in the constituency. Thank you. Jason from the Mail.
Hi, thanks. Since we're talking about Burnham, I mean, Labour started the day having a terrible time. You seem to have taken the spotlight off them today with this sort of attack. Why are you doing Labour a favour? And Suella, can I ask you, you said, Nigel's views are shared by thousands of your constituents. Are you going to have a by-election there? I just find it to come back to this sort of Conservative attack. They seem to be suggesting you've got to be mad to join Reform. Are they right?
Well, I have to say, the lower they sink with their criticisms, the more it tells us about them. And I thought pretty...
In some cases, yes, he's correct. Just because you disagree with Nigel doesn't mean you can, call him out when he's right. When he's right, you have to say, yeah, he's right. But when he's wrong, you have to say he's wrong. Like, when Suella says something right, I'm going to have to admit she was right. Unfortunately, this is the problem with being a fair, decent person, is that even when your enemy is correct, you have to agree with them. That is the hardest part about being a fair, decent human being. Is even when someone you absolutely don't like says something you don't want them to say, but it's right, you have to accept it. You can't just call them names or whatever. That's childish. Nigel is correct there, to be fair.
Yesterday was, frankly, pretty appalling stuff.
Thing is, right, I can call Nigel any name I want, realistically, apart from things that aren't true. I wouldn't do that. But other political people shouldn't be doing this. Like, Keir Starmer shouldn't be insulting reform. He should be outperforming them, out-policying them, out-manoeuvring them. It shouldn't be a childish mudslinging match, no. That's not how we want our elections to be in this country, but that's how they always end up, with one guy on a podium and another guy on a podium, slagging each other off, saying, I'm better than him, he doesn't know what he's talking about, you should vote for me, blah, 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 blah. Every time.
Appalling stuff. And then the personal attacks on Suella today. I mean, frankly, I think we've dealt with those as effectively as we're going to this afternoon. We're not going to labour the point.
There's someone saying because she's a woman and is a Muslim, she should not be heard or seen. This person's Andrew Langton said this. It must be a bot account. Oh yeah, of course they don't show their face and they've got 13 friends and 2 cats. Of course. Right. I don't care if Suella Braverman is a woman or a Muslim. She is perfectly allowed to say what she believes and make the same mistakes any man can make. Go fuck yourself, you racist, sexist cunt. Don't make me defend a Tory traitor. Fucking... Some people, man, honestly.
Suella said it says more about them than it does about us. We will not sink into the gutter in these debates. I put it as simply as that. We are not doing Labour a favour. We're building an election...
They haven't done Labour a favour, and this move has not benefited the Labour Party at all, really. It'll help in PMQs for Starmer to have a little soundbite that they've, another Tory, blah, 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 but it actually doesn't help Labour at all.
Winning machine by uniting the centre-right of British politics around reform.
I like how everyone's talking about centrism these days. Centrism is not about centre-right or centre-left. That just further perpetuates the left-right narrative that has been brainwashed into everyone. Unfortunately, a centrist has to agree with both the left and the right, depending on the subject. There is no centre-right. There is no centre-left. There is none of that shit. It's further perpetuating a delusion so you can keep fighting left versus right, rather than find some unity and agree that, yes, this might be right, that might be wrong, that might be... Do you know what I mean? It's just further perpetuating this bullshit. There is no centre-left, centre-right. You're either a centrist or, deluded. That's it.
That is what's happening. And I know that at the moment, your newspaper's current editorial line seems to think there should be a merger, that Suella and Ruth Davidson should all get together. And I just don't see it happening. I don't see why it would happen. And also, why would we trust the party not to break its promises and, frankly, let us down again?
Listen, I believe in by-elections, definitely. And if I were leaving the Labour Party to go to the Conservatives or government to go to opposition, I think there's a very strong case there for a by-election. But as you heard, I spent the last general election apologising for being a Conservative. And I believe that I won that seat despite the Conservative rosette, not because of it. A lot of polling said that I was going to lose that seat. I put out leaflets saying that we needed to leave the ECHR, which was not my party policy at the time. And the reality is that now that I'm a Reform UK MP, the people of Fareham Waterlooville will have a more authentic Member of Parliament who can speak in alignment with her party much more freely and much more authentically.
Thank you. Samara from Talk.
Thank you, Samara from Talk. Given the concerns raised about sites like military barracks in Crowborough, where illegal migrants were basically smuggled in the middle of the night last week, I was down there and the people are just basically enraged and frightened. Would a reform government ensure that people in the UK that are here illegally are not free to move around unchecked? And given you won't be able to shut down sites like Crowborough on day one, how would you enforce that?
The residents of Crowborough would be far less concerned if those young men who illegally come to Britain, willfully discarding their iPhones and their passports in the Channel at the 12-mile line, about whom we know absolutely nothing, They'd be far less concerned, the residents of Crowborough, if they were kept behind locked gates. They'd rather they weren't there at all, but the real concern is that these people will be
there we go. It didn't take long, did it?
Out within.
There's a weak ban. Oh, look at that. Confirm I'm human. Of course I'm human. I'll have to do this on my phone now. Well, there you go. I wondered how long it would take for me to be getting a ban from Facebook. I literally have only got unbanned from groups today and thought, well, I'll hijack this brainwashing where they're lying to the British public and, do what I can do. I have to do this check now, so I have to stop the video. Thanks very much. Bye.